Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and this is my 12 Days of Christmas. Chris Jericho? Aw, shit. We're gonna fight Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho. So I decided to watch this film that I remember seeing the trailer for last year. And I thought it looked dumb. So I guess I didn't watch it at the time. But it came out around the same time as that Winnie the Pooh horror movie. And since I saw that, and it was hot garbage, I thought, well, there's no way that this could be any worse. So, The Mean One is a 2022 horror film that is based off of the Dr. Seuss story that we all know and love, The Grinch. In this movie, it's a horror version of the Grinch story. I mean, it kind of starts out the way we know the story to go, right? The Grinch pretends to be Santa Claus. He's going around to every house and he's about to steal presents. He meets young Cindy Who, and she sort of changes his life, right? She shows him how good humanity can be and starts to show the goodness in him. And they even show that at the beginning, but then they say, well, what if that didn't happen? What if that interaction went horribly wrong? And by horribly wrong, I mean Cindy's mother happened to come downstairs and see her interacting with him, freaked out, and attacked the Grinch. The Grinch, kind of in self-defense, he didn't openly outright murder her. It was sort of just like he dropped her and she fell on a spike and died. And ever since then, Cindy was like, "You're a monster." And so from all those years later, the Grinch being called a monster and being looked at as a murderer just embraced it and said, "Fuck it. You think I'm this evil, murderous creature? I will become said murderous creature." And honestly, as bad as this movie is, and it is bad, believe me, I'm not trying to sell this like it's a good movie. I'm not trying to say that everybody who watches this film will like it or enjoy it or see any good from it. You could watch it and think it absolutely sucks. I get that. There's a part of me that agrees with that. But maybe it's because I saw that Winnie the Pooh horror movie, because that one was unwatchable, like I couldn't finish it. This one, I was able to watch it and get some enjoyment out of it. Look, I should probably mention that this is directed by Stephen Lamort, and the acting is the worst part of this film. I mean, my God, the acting is atrocious. It's terrible. It's god-awful acting. The main character, Cindy, the grown-up version of Cindy, is played by Crystal Martin. She had this MMA fighter look about her. Like, I swore she looked like Ronda Rousey, especially later on in the film where she does a training montage of like, I'm going to be a badass and train myself to take on the Grinch, right? And even though that doesn't really come into play too much, you don't really see her fight or anything like that. You see her working out and learning maneuvers, and I'm like, yeah, she looks like she's probably some sort of athlete. And I looked her up, and she's a stunt actress, which also explains her lack of acting ability. I'm not saying every stunt actor can't act, but I would venture to guess that acting is not her first and foremost profession. It was rough. It was pretty rough. And like I say, her mother dies at the beginning when she's just a kid. When she's older, 20 or so years later, her father gets killed by the Grinch once again. So you have this ongoing thing of everybody in the town thinks she's crazy because she's swearing that it was a green creature. You have to believe me. You had to have seen it. Nobody believes her. And the sheriff especially denies everything and says, you're just crazy. And I'm wondering, like, well, if they really think that she's crazy and really think that what she's saying is not true, why is she not being arrested? Why is she not being taken in for the murders? They're just letting her sort of go out there and do what she's doing. And it's obvious that, well, the sheriff, of course he's covering shit up. Of course he knows everything that's really going on. And the sheriff, the acting there was pretty rough as well. There is a cop who comes into contact with Cindy at the beginning. He clearly is attracted to her. He likes her. That guy was all right. I mean, he wasn't great either, but probably not the worst actor in the movie. I think I got the most enjoyment from, well, probably two things. There's a character in this movie who I think purposely looks like Santa Claus. He's an older guy with a white beard, and he's going around the town. He's always drunk. He's at bars, but he's also looking out for people because he too believes the Grinch is out there, so he's protecting them. He looks like Santa Claus, but his name is Zeus, but he tells them to just call me Doc. And the cop character says, oh, so Dr. Zeus? And I said, oh my god, is this character really named Dr. Zeus? Like Dr. Seuss. Get it? Oh man, would he be rolling over in his grave if he was aware of what was being done with his material. And I don't know. The Grinch himself, I could complain that maybe the prosthetics or the costume was cheap, but honestly, it wasn't that bad. There was a couple scenes or close up where it did look bad, but there was other moments where I thought, hey, wherever the budget is, how low the budget probably is, they tried to make this Grinch costume look decent. There was some cases where it almost reminded me of the Jim Carrey Grinch, not exactly. But I was like, okay, sure. And there was moments where he was being goofy when he would go around and sort of do his Grinch mannerisms and tiptoe around. So that was very silly. But then when he would kill people, and there's one scene in particular where he kills like 15 people. I like fucking massacres an entire group of people. So they do go for it. The gore is there. He chops up body parts. Like, this Grinch doesn't give a fuck. And then the ending was very head scratching. I made it to the end. I actually watched the whole thing. And the ending tried to make you sympathize with this Grinch character. And I get it because deep down, the original story of the Grinch, we are supposed to like him and sympathize with him. But this version of the Grinch, after he's killed all these people, I don't really know how they could try to have their cake and eat it too. How they could try to make him likable after having a whole movie explain to us that he's been killing people for 20 plus years. I mean, in a way, if this was real, I guess the Grinch would have been killing people for the way that they treated him, right? So it's not the biggest stretch of changing the story. But yeah, look, like I say, I know the movie's bad. I know plenty of people have probably already shitted on this with good reason. I just didn't hate this movie though. I found some enjoyment out of it. What little I could have gotten from it. Maybe I'm in a good mood. Maybe this Christmas movie watching is actually working to some extent. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you too have seen The Mean One. Did you like it more than I did, or just as much, or do you think it absolutely sucks? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!